Okay, I would like to introduce myself. My name is Carla. I work at the City Fitness Center in New York City. I am the Member Experience Manager, and I'm here to talk to you today about building good nutritional habits and making them stick. This is part 2 of our 6-week series, and last week, if you were able to participate in our first, it was entitled Building Blocks of Human Fuel. If you have not been able to attend that, I would encourage you to go back and take a look. We do have that presentation up on our YouTube channel. It is just excellent for laying the groundwork of what we need to know about the nutrients that we consume, both macronutrients, micronutrients. It's just a great foundation for this series, and each of the weeks that we're presenting will build on the previous week. So if you have an opportunity to go back and get some of that information, I certainly encourage you to do that. I would also like to mention that tomorrow, Rebecca Sabrine, our registered dietitian, is also offering a webinar. The title of hers is How Your Relationship with Food Affects Your Well-Being, which is a very intriguing, interesting topic. So that will be at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And if you need links for any of these things, the YouTube from last week or for Rebecca's presentation, you can email livewellfitness@city.com. We can share links with you, and you'll be able to take in all this great information. So with that, I'm going to start moving through my presentation. And we're first going to talk about these habits that are very good to adopt into your life. Some of them you might be doing, some of them you might not be doing. What you'll see here is not all specifically nutrition related, but we're talking today about building habits. So we want to add in a couple of other things that are just healthy habits. So as we talk about these habits, as I go through the slide presentation, you're going to see some benefits that you know about, maybe some benefits you didn't know about associated with each of these topics, which is great. It's always good to have reinforcement for what you're doing or to learn a little bit more about why you should be doing something. But then when we get toward the end of the presentation, we're going to talk about how you stick to these habits, how you might be able to better build these habits into your life. It's one thing to say, I'm going to drink more water, I'm going to consume more fruits and vegetables, but with that, it's very helpful to have a plan with how you're going to accomplish that in your life. So that's where we're going to take the presentation. Last week, the presentation talked about the what. What are the nutrients we need to consume? This is more about the why and the how. And so, like I said, each week we'll be building on this. So I'm going to move to the next slide. So if you were able to attend last week, you would know that Mark Kean, who drove that presentation, did talk about water. So maybe some of this you heard last week, but we're going to just kind of touch on a few other additional points. So some of the benefits of water: it keeps you alert, it keeps you energized, it cushions your joints, it hydrates your skin, it helps to keep hunger at bay. So those are all great reasons to consume more water. But not everybody likes water. Not everybody can consume water as much as is generally recommended. So there are other ways to hydrate yourself. You can eat hydrating foods, and some of those foods include the berries, raspberries, blueberries, watermelon, foods like that, but also cabbage, cucumbers, spinach, eggplant. These are all considered hydrating foods. So if you can keep that in mind, adding hydrating foods to your day can definitely help you with this habit. Some of the ways you can make sure you are drinking more water is find a water bottle that you really like. I had received one as a gift a while back, and it was just such a color that I fell in love with. So I really wanted to have that water bottle with me all the time. So I found that that made a difference for me. Like, oh, I love the color of this water bottle, and I like looking at it throughout the day. So let me fill it up before I leave for the day. So things like that can really help to make your habits a little bit more palatable. Also identifying that a cue that will remind you to drink. So maybe making sure you take in some water right before your workout. You always want to have water with you when you're exercising, but maybe make sure you drink a cup before you actually start. So your cue is, I'm starting my workout, let me go drink a glass of water first. Pairing drinking water with an already established habit can also help. So habit pairing would be, I'm going to fill my water bottle up twice a day and I'm going to drink it on my commute. So I commute twice a day, commute to and from work. So that's a nice way. Fill it up on your way out the door in the morning. On your commute, you try to complete that or finish that water bottle and then fill it up before you leave for the day. So that's what we call habit pairing. You're pairing that water drinking habit up with something you're already doing, which is commuting to work. Adding more fruits and vegetables to your day, I don't think I need to tell anyone the benefits of this because they're very well established. But making them part of your day is not always the easiest thing in the world. So first thing would be to make them convenient. Chop them up in advance, have them ready when you're preparing meals. Layer in flavors that appeal to your taste buds. Use herbs, spices, oils, and sauces that you know you would like. That's going to make your vegetables more palatable. Fruits are pretty easy to consume on their own. I don't think you have to add much to those, but sometimes for vegetables, we need to make them a little bit more palatable. Another thing to do is to use them as snacks. So rather than find yourself at 11 o'clock in the morning really starving without anything that you've prepared in advance, oftentimes we're going to run to a vending machine and get something maybe that we'd rather not consume. So if you can prepare some snacks in advance, carrots, grapes, apples, dried fruits, those things all travel really well. You can put them in little Ziploc bags, take 2 bags of them with you on your way to work, and boom, you have a snack for the mid-morning and you have a snack for the afternoon. I will caution you, that's always great to prepare in advance, but try not to overcomplicate that because you don't want to make prepping your snacks just another chore that you have to do. So try to find a way, even if you buy some pre-chopped and just put those in your bag on your way to work. I mean, if it saves you from having to stand there and chop or find ways to do it, then it's worth it. Sometimes they can be a little bit more expensive, but definitely keep in mind that anything that solidifies this as a habit and something you're not going to have to walk away from because it's too time consuming is a good thing. You don't want to be chopping up fruits and vegetables when you're trying to get out the door on a Monday morning because, again, that habit might be like, well, I've got to get to work on time, so I guess I can't do this. Maybe even setting some time on Sunday to start that chopping. Next is mindful eating, and practicing mindful eating has a lot of benefits. So if you schedule a time to eat that you're more likely to pay attention to your eating, this can be very helpful. So many of us eat while we're working. It's just the way it is. And maybe we have to do that sometimes. That's just the way our work life is. But when you can, when you're eating a meal that is not during your workday, try to pay a little bit more attention to the food that you're eating, the taste, the texture, the color, the aroma of the food, because doing some of those things can actually slow you down a little bit. And when you slow down, when you eat, you'll have more time to recognize when your body's full or hungry. And if you pause throughout the meal and check in with how you're feeling, again, these are just things that actually can slow you down. We do know that it takes about 20 minutes to feel satisfied. So if you start a meal on a day when you're really hungry, you can consume a lot in that 20 minutes without realizing it. So if you're actually taking a little bit more time, you're giving your body that time to actually feel a little bit more satisfied. So the benefit of that is just slowing down and enjoying what you're doing. Sleep, importance of sleep. So there's so many benefits to quality sleep. We really are learning more and more about this every day. Some things are strengthening your immune system, increasing your athletic performance, improving your productivity and problem solving, improving your mood, and helping with weight management. So for me, sleeping, I've always felt like I don't do enough of it. So or that it's not the quality I would want it to be. So I do work on that. I do try to follow things like turning off my computer, turning off television, all of those things to improve my sleep and try to get into a deeper sleep. But it also can help with weight management. So when you're properly rested, or when you're not rested, I should say, that can start to hormones that increase your appetite may be more prevalent in your body because you haven't slept enough. So actually having enough sleep can suppress the hormones that do increase your appetite and hunger. So that is clearly something we want to avoid if we're trying to manage our weight. And again, I think a lot of times we might not realize that sleeping and getting adequate sleep can help with managing our weight. Taking workday breaks. Another really important thing to do, and something that we may talk ourselves out of because we are full on into a task. It has a deadline. We want to get it done. So we don't want to take the time to take a break. So some of the things you can expect if you do take breaks is that it just helps to recharge you, improves your job satisfaction, improves your mental well-being, boosts your creativity, and allows time for healthy habits. So you might have gotten up in the morning and said, oh, I'm going to take this Live Well workout today, or I'm going to attend one of the movement breaks. But then you got so into your tasks that you thought, oh, I better not, or maybe you didn't set yourself a reminder to do that. So that habit or that opportunity might just pass you by. So allowing those times for healthy habits, I mean, these benefits are all really clear, and I think could outweigh that concept that says don't stop, keep going, just keep on working. So try to allow the time for that. It really does have a big payoff. And again, we've talked about habits, so things that are great to make part of your life, but how do you do that? And what we have here are the 6 sources of influence. And what the 6 sources of influence help you to do is make a plan for how you're going to make these habits stick a little bit more than maybe in the past. You've tried certain things and then you found yourself getting busy and it was not easy to stick with the habit that you really did want to do. So we're going to talk about this structure that might, if you think about these points, might help you be more successful. So the first one is personal motivation. Do you or would you enjoy the habit that you're about to take on? So making the undesirable desirable. So I'll use the example of water because, as I pointed out earlier, you might not like water. So how am I going to make that more desirable? Well, I don't like water, but I love watermelon. I like these vegetables that are more hydrating for me. So, you know, you're going to start to think about how am I going to make this habit more motivational to me and trying to make it something that you will actually enjoy. Because if you start to take on a habit that you don't enjoy, chances are it's going to be very hard to stick with. So make the undesirable desirable. Do you enjoy what you're about to undertake? You should do this for yourself and not for others, and find your own why for the habit that you're about to take on. Next one is personal ability, so surpassing your limits. So this is that, are you personally able to perform this habit? We know, many of us know what works for us and what doesn't work for us. So do you have the skills and the knowledge of what will work for you? You really want to personalize your habits and make them so they will work for you. And what do you need to know? What you need to know is what didn't work for you in the past. You tried to take on something that really wasn't something that met your needs. So you want to make sure that you're trying to find things that do work for you. Chances are you do already know that. Social motivation, harness peer pressure. So that's where you want to, do others motivate you to do what you want to do, or your friends more of, hey, let's go out for drinks tonight, you don't need to exercise, or whatever it is that you were planning to do. So you want to make sure that you harness the peer pressure that's going to help you establish your habit. You just want to really keep that in mind. Social ability, finding strength in numbers. Do others enable you? Can you identify people that can help you with what you're trying to achieve? Or they may have the resources that you're looking for when you're trying to set this new goal for yourself or achieve this new habit. I like to remind you that we are here. We could be your social ability, because we provide movement breaks and webinars and exercise classes of all different types. Whatever you're looking for, we do have quite an array. So if you're not familiar with everything we have to offer, again, livewellfitness@city.com, and we can provide you with many resources. So we are definitely a resource for you. But also there could be people in your life. You might have a neighbor that you see go out walking every morning. Nothing wrong with asking that neighbor if they minded if you join them once in a while. That's just finding strength in numbers. Try to find someone who has a habit that you are looking to establish, and try to go ahead and pair along with them. Structural motivation is next. So rewards and accountability. So rewards are like literally rewarding yourself for the habits that you're looking to, or the habits that you are achieving, I should say. You want to make sure that you're making sure that you have a reward for what you're doing. And accountability is, again, just having someone as an accountability partner can help you with that. You want to make sure there's someone saying, hey, great job, and you're really doing it. And the reward that you create for yourself is one that you really can appreciate because you have met your goal. So structural motivation is important. Rewarding yourself for what you have achieved is a way to just make your habits more something that you're going to stick with over the long haul. And lastly, structural ability. So do the things around you enable you to do what you're looking to do? Do you have a way to exercise at home if you need to? One thing you can do is when you walk in, if you're looking to improve your nutritional habits, have a big bowl of apples or oranges or whatever fruit you like sitting there, so you see that as soon as you walk in the door. Chances are you're going to grab an apple if you see that when you walk in the door, provided you like apples. Don't put a fruit in there that you don't like, because that probably won't work. You want to have something that you can see when you're walking in the door. Do you have, lay your exercise clothes out at night before you, so when you get up in the morning, that's the first thing that you see. So all of these things of setting your environment up for what you're looking to achieve will allow you to have a plan for those habits and making them stick. You don't have to take on every one of these 6 sources of influence. You don't have to go and make a list and say, okay, how will I make the undesirable desirable? How will I surpass my limits? Take some of these things that you think you can bring into your life and work with them first. So it's also a matter of not overwhelming yourself. Yeah, I think I can lay out my clothes the night before, or I can schedule a reminder in my computer that I want to take this movement break or this class tomorrow, so that you're more likely to do it. But don't feel like you have to go out and do all of these things at once. We always encourage, when changing habits, to start small and work your way up to more, but start with any of these that resonate with you, that you think you can connect with. Yes, I think I can do that, because that's, chances are, making yourself more successful. So I hope that's clear, but I am going to allow some time for questions for us. So you can start thinking of anything that you may want to ask about anything we talked about here. So I'm going to move to my next slide and just this quote is one that I really like, and it is part of those 6 sources of influence. This is not my quote, but the key, if you want to build habits that last, is to join a group where the desired behavior is the normal behavior. And the author is James Clear, who said that. And it is just what I said, finding strength in numbers, finding a group of people that they do what you want to do, and join that group. It can be through what we have to offer. Again, think of us as a resource. We are a group. We can encourage you, and just you're with people who are doing the things that you want to do. So keep that in mind, that we are a resource for you, but find those resources and become part of those groups that support what you're trying to do. And as I said earlier, each of these webinars will sort of build on the previous one. So next week, we have one entitled Stick to the List. So that's kind of going to build on what we talked about earlier about prepping and making sure you buy the things that are on your list and not get sidetracked. So that will kind of take that part of what we talked about today and just build on it. So that'll be next week. And I encourage you to attend that, because this series was put together in a way so that we are building on the previous week's webinar.